all of the engaged. Sejuani ult goes in. Talia Wall's not great. Onto a Sylas who survives because he's got great sustain. Onto a Maokai. Or onto a Meganar. You're going to have a bad time against that Varus Jhin backline that is going to have so much damage output and, frankly, a lot of utility, too.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this Jhin Varus lane is going to go. I'm glad that the mad science is out already, and it's not on the CV Max side of the Rift. Maybe it was Viper all along. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see whether it's going to work out here as we head towards the Rift for our very first game of day 2. Yesterday, absolute banger. Today, we'll have to see whether it can follow in its footsteps. Let's run over these rosters one more time. Dudu back on the Aatrox here. We have the Ashe Heimerdinger for Taeun and Jun towards that bottom side of the map. And a young bottom lane that has played in the LCK before, but off to a great start as far as draft is concerned there on that bottom side.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see how Bulldog does against the Sylas here for Zeka, because pretty good matchup for Talia, but one wrong step, one wrong move, one good gank from Klid, and that matchup goes off the rails in Zeka's favor so quickly.
Exactly right. Klid picking up the Maokai. We'll see what kind of Maokai it's going to be. I hope it's not the AP variety. Let's get onto the Rift. All right, here we are onto the Rift for game number 1. Kwangdong Freaks taking on Harmolife Esports. Ooh, I like that we've toggled the vision. We didn't know that Harmolife Esports were there, and neither did Kwangdong Freaks.
Yep. Klid's not, and he's not involved in this, but otherwise a 5-man here for Kwangdong Freaks. Fighting over this brush control is pretty important for the Heimerdinger Ashe, getting this turret set up so that you can hit level 2 the fastest possible against what is a lot of poke and wave clear, obviously, for Viper and Life here. Because you could use the traps for the Jhin to kind of push that through, and then you've got long-range poke. If you end up hitting Ashe and setting up for that insane poke, you get the slow from the Flourish. Ashe takes a bad trade away from the turret, can get disastrous. So you want to make sure you can control this brush as Kwangdong Freaks at level 1 if you can.
Yep.
And that's what they commit to.
Yeah, I do like Klid's Maokai skin, by the way. Looks like he's got like a hydroponics unit on his back. It's kind of cute. I know he's a tree, and it's sort of like the astronaut skin.
I think wearing the Christmas skin like we saw yesterday is kind of like, man, we're already halfway through January. It's like, if you still got your Christmas lights on, if you still got your Maokai Christmas skin on, we're going to have a talk.
Oh, no.
We've passed that era, okay? It's definitely halfway through January already.
It's just admitting that you've still got your Christmas tree up. I went to my barber the other day, still had his Christmas tree up. I almost walked out. I'm like, come on, man. I didn't though. He's a great barber. Anyway, Harmolife Esports taking a fair bit of damage here. Of course, it's a bit of a problem when you're up against Heimerdinger and you have to walk towards turrets.
Yeah, and getting that control early like they did at level 1 is really going to help them push this even harder, like I was saying before. Once the Jhin and the Varus get level 3, like they could trade back a little bit here, but it is a very annoying early game to play out, as you could see here.
Yep. It is going to be the phase rush variant of the Maokai as well, so a little bit more of that bruiser flavor, which we like to see.
I really like it with the Sylas because it allows you to follow up or set up for the Sylas so easily, especially when you're looking for those mid ganks.
Yep. Ooh, Youngjae was looking to wrap around. He's going to continue doing so. Klid is first, however, and he is going to get that flash twisted advance. There it is. W's going to land, but Klid is just dead. That is not the way you wanted to start the season. They do manage to get another kill also towards that top side of the map, and Kwangdong Freaks 2-0 before 3 minutes.
Yeah, this is rough. I mean, Klid commits very heavily there, and twisted advance, you don't get to say, oops, never mind, I don't want to go there. You click it, you go, and you're under turret, and yeah.
Yeah, they got both of Jun's summoners.
I mean, they did get Jun summoners, but they didn't get Taeun, so he should be able to defend this push pretty easily. Heimer's going to come back here.
Oh dear, Bulldog. This is one heck of a debut.
Yeah. Airy start here, has a ghost. He didn't even use it to get that amazing set of picks, or rather poke, onto Zeka. So
of course,
still has
good
ghost.
matchup for Talia. We do have to remember that, and Sylas does tend to go down pretty low early, but
so
still.
Heal first here. Klid goes in for the smash, but is just under turret and is locked up. The slow from the Ashe arrows there going to be very problematic. He just went a bit deep, let's say, and we didn't see what happened up here at all.
Yeah, I think he also got grenaded after he landed
the
as well.
grenade was the thing that kept him there first, and then he was doomed, I think, without the slow. Up here, Youngjae just sneaks through. Kingen has no idea, is punished very early. And 2 wins on both top and bottom here early on for Kwangdong Freaks, taking an 1,100 gold lead at 4 minutes.
Yeah, not necessarily the expected outcome of the early game. However, based on the compositions, something that could happen. See whether Hummer Life Esports can tighten it up as Kwangdong Freaks are at it again. Zeka just dashes out of the way, abducts himself back towards his turret. He'll be absolutely fine. Viper farming pretty nicely here towards the bottom side. Taeyun struggling in that department pretty heavily as the Deadly Flourish comes through.
Okay, grenade gonna land.
Yeah, Jun is...
He's hitting them.
Yeah, he's showing some mastery here. Of course, he was formerly a DRX support player, and Beryl also was a pretty good Heimerdinger, so it does make some sense. Youngjae is flashing on Clid. He's like, I should have been the starting jungler, and he's going to pick up the solo kill.
Yeah, storyline we didn't talk about too much, obviously, is Youngjae playing behind Clid on Genji. But man, the thing I was going to say before my point was proven, the point I was going to try to make is proven, is that we've talked a lot about this roster versus last year's roster, and it feels kind of unfair to do that sometimes. But man, Kwangdong Freaks was somewhat of a slow-to-act team last year a lot of the time, and not a very aggressive team in the early parts. You know,
Yeah.
Once Dread left the team, it really felt like the tempo of the team slowed down a lot last year with Elim. But no, this first game, all action all the time, non-stop ganking, full pressure here. Youngjae and June, I think, really shaping this team into a very aggressive force early. And Bulldog also just laning extremely well with the matchup he picked up for himself, right? He got the counter pick, and he's using it well.
He certainly is. Control ward now going to be taken away here by Clid, but so much of the map is under Kwangdong Freaks' control. They're playing it out very, very nicely as well. And it doesn't, there's not necessarily that, oh, but we'll just scale, it'll be fine answer here for Hummer Life Esports, as Dudu is going to find a fair bit of damage onto Kingen.
Observers always have to just see what Youngjae is doing all the time. I was like, well, hold on. We were going to look at that trade topside, but Youngjae is about to set up a dive, and this is a Varus losing control of his turret, and this is something we don't really see all too much, because usually the Varus versus something like a Zeri, and the Varus is pushing, and the blue side jungler that's with him is winning. This is red side Varus just losing control, and once again, flash through here for Youngjae to set up the stun. Clid is just dead, gets permafrosted. That's the end of that. Caught on a Grump, doesn't have his health, and Youngjae just instantly flash capitalizes, takes him out.
Man, beautiful play.
Early Drake with the Heimer turrets.
Exactly. Jun able to head on over there, orchestrate that play. Looking forward to seeing how the mid to late game is going to go, because so much of it is going to hinge off Jun, and we're going to learn so much as to sort of how his mind works for the game. As, oh, that is a really nice Infernal Chains.
At the very edge of it, forces King into flash. It's a flash advantage top side here with the Sejuani jungler that already got a successful gank on Kingen earlier. He's fallen fairly far behind here in this lane. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this.
Yeah. And remember, I mean, we're back in the LCK, you know? Maybe it's Kingen and Zeka weren't necessarily the kings of the LCK. They are the kings of the world, not the kings of the LCK.
They could be, but not the kings of Game 1 of 2023.
That is very true. We're not counting our eggs or anything like that, but so far...
No flash on this Nari. He does have Mega.
Is it going to save him, though, is the question. As Q misses, everything else misses, and Kwangdong Freaks is going to say, all right, you just hang out over there, mate. It'll be fine. Looks like Rift Herald is going to be on their mind. It's cleared. Going to head towards his Brambleback. Has no interest in stopping this whatsoever.
So regardless of the, I guess you could say, failed gank where they don't get Kingen, he survives, uses Meganar, but they're like, well, we're trying to set this up into a Herald play anyways, and you can't stop us. We crashed a huge wave of minions into the turret. Free Herald for them. Bulldog has control of mid. And they get that early Drake and the Herald because they were able to kind of sneak the Drake away with the Heimer turrets while Ashe got a free back. I mean, they are really maximizing the small advantages they've had so beautifully here across the map.
Yeah. It's certainly not looking like it's getting any better anytime soon here for Hummer Life Esports. However, they still can find themselves some fights around this map. Kwangdong Freaks pretty beautifully just transitioning into objective after objective. being able to lock down the Rift Herald after collecting that first Drake like we were talking about. Infernal and a Mountain now on the cards in 3 minutes time. We'll see whether that is what Harmalife Esports going to be able to fight for, as Viper taking a fair bit of damage there. Going to be more of that lethality, more of that mana stacking variety of Ashe. Kind of cute here.
Let's see exactly how this one goes, but having the extra mana is going to be so oppressive in lane here, obviously, and going to be building up towards this full tier early with the extra assist gold he picked up. And over here, we're still tussling as Clid hits level 6. Got to be careful, Young Jay, around this one.
I mean, Young Jay's just feeling himself, though, man. Like, I don't know.
I feel like Young Jay...
feeling personal.
Young Jay is one of those players that we only saw a few times, and he played behind Clid, and he did okay, and so people weren't really upset with him, but they weren't that hyped about it. But I always thought, okay, this guy's got potential. Genji's lineups back then were so promising, and we always trusted, like, oh man, look at the development of this team. And I think he's showing it here, at least in this opening game, how good he is for those who forgot.
Yeah, absolutely. As, all right, Chains of Corruption connects onto Taeum, but he's going to be able to break them using his cleanse, of course. A couple of plates do go down, though, as Jun just continues to fire rockets and be frustrating. You'll notice Viper doesn't have any summoners. I believe that happened off-screen. So losing that cleanse, not the hugest deal there for Taeun. He does still have summoner spell advantage with that flash being available.
It certainly does. The gold graph, you know, it's the kind of growth you're looking for this early into the game. And we'll see if it continues here for Guangdong Freaks, who haven't set up any sort of deep vision or anything like that. I think Clid's been doing a pretty good job with sticking around Zeka when we see Young Jay come through, so he hasn't been able to get some sort of massive vision advantage. We aren't seeing, you know, Dudu getting so far ahead that he could get some deep wards up here. Arrow.
Sails by majestically. I like that a lot.
King in, man. He is just playing so far back, so defensively.
All right, good little ult there to come through from Zeka, who stole that one away. Bulldog, can he survive this? Zeka gets under the turret. And his flash is on cooldown, but he's going to be absolutely fine. The final bullet from Life, going to try and keep Zeka alive. Unfortunately, that's not how that works, but I did like the idea. And finally, Harmalife Esports are on the board.
Yeah, I think Dudu was also missing on the map at that moment in time, so just kind of firing in that general direction to see if they could find the Aatrox, as he could have been closer than he actually was while he was on the Gromp. So great successful gank here. Sylas going Rod of Ages, by the way, with the Dark Seal. So a lot of potential mid-game spikes for this Sylas, but it's going to be a while before that really starts to get online. And in the past, we've seen a lot of different Sylas builds. We even, for a little while, saw like the Andre Sylas, but it's mostly just that Everfrost, the setup for the burst damage and the rest of your team. Not going to have that tool this time around to catch up, so a bit of a longer investment this time around for Zeka.
I kind of like it, though, because you've got so many hijacked CC options, right? With the Enchanted Crystal Arrow as well as the Glacial Prison is cleared. Looking for another opportunity here. Flash Twisted Advance to get on in. The arrow is going to sail by. Doesn't land there, as you can see, and Young Jay is going to try and return the favor. They dive forward. Bulldog holds his ground and just walks it off.
This is, I mean, I thought tonight we're going to have a good series. Like I was telling everyone, right, this is a sleeper OP series, right? Like Guangdong looks like it could be an amazing team, but let's wait and see. But I did not expect we were going to see this level of coordination. Taeun,
he might just be dead. No, he's just going to have to use his flash. Oh, the flash forward from Life. He's still got a couple of bullets, but he does find the last one. And now he's going to have to look for a way out because things are real dangerous.
He's going to try to get an execute here, potentially.
Yeah, captive audience, try and slow down Jun. It is going to work for the
Bulldog
moment.
Comes in, though.
Oh, dear. Yeah. He's like, Jun, kill me. No. Bulldog's going to pick it up.
Nice try. Trying to make the support get it. But, yeah, that ends up looking really cool at first, but it is a big trade-up for Guangdong Freaks here. An extra kill for the Talia. And look at Young Jay already having his Mythic online here, so some of these mid-game fights he can actually do quite a bit on this Sejuani. As we're going to watch this once again, how this all starts off, Bulldog's gank here, where Zeka steals the Sejuani ult. But the more interesting one, arguably, is what happens the second time, where he's extremely far ahead. Everyone's on Drake. And when I first saw this, I was like, oh, this is a bait. This was so sick. But really, I think it's just kind of convenient that everyone was on Drake. He's super far up. He knows his teammates are fairly close. But the reaction time and how quickly Young Jay rotates over and how much long-range CC they have Just really helps him escape.
Also, Bulldog just didn't get hit by almost anything that Zeka did. I'm just having a look at it again. Like, he could have taken a heck of a lot more damage than he did now as the Nature's Grasp does come through. Let's see whether the Drake is going to be prioritized as the curtains have been called. Blitz still alive for the moment. Chains of Corruption will connect as well as now Taeyeon and Viper fighting it out. Viper does almost have his flash available, but he's not going to be able to use it in time as Kingin is going to dive on in. Gets a couple with the Gnar, but he's still going to have to flash away. Now he's mini Gnar, and he's so much more susceptible. The flash forward from Dudu, and he picks it up!
Oh, that was insanely sick from Dudu. Everyone else was like, nah, let him go. Dudu said, nope, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to TP top, and I'm going to start smacking on this turret. My name is Dudu, and I'm back, baby.
To me, Wolf.
This is crazy we're watching, because this is right now essentially a stomp. One of the most one-sided games we've seen so far this season. As a Talia Weaver's wall setup here is pretty nice. Curtain Call comes out in support Jin though. Not a ton of damage, trying to stave off the pressure. Kingin gets his Mega Gnar. He's very late to the party. By the time he can get over this wall with a Blast Cone, Viper's already dead. So his CC here essentially irrelevant. He's just trying to save Zeka. And, you know, this is the Dudu moment. Everyone's like, oh, we're out. Dudu's like, I don't think so. Flashing in, chains come through, grabs the kill, TP's top.
That couldn't have been more smooth from Dudu there. That was actually just amazing play.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, I don't really understand what's happening, but I'm right here for it, and I'm looking forward to what's going to happen in Game 2 as well. As, of course, this one's not over yet. 15.5 minutes right now. We do have a Hextech Soul as well, which is a bit of fun. Relevant Drakes the entire way through. Would have been a little bit better if there was at least one Cloud, but not going to be the case this time, and I won't be too upset given what the game has given us so far. Second Herald to come through here, and that will be all of the neutral objectives. I mean, we're 3 kills away from, like, a perfect game.
Yeah, I mean,
here for Kwangdong Freaks, which is pretty unprecedented, to be honest.
The one lane where Hanwha Life Esports have a lead is Zeka in, you know, a losing matchup, but it's because he had a small CS advantage because Bulldog has been kind of cleaning up some of the pieces here, was killed in that gank. But that's really the only advantage they have. He has also 2 plates of gold that he's picked up here, 350. But otherwise here across the map, it is all Kwangdong colored. And they have some deep vision. They're starting to set up here on the top side of the map, the Raptor camp there. They have a lot of vision set up for Dudu to actually push further here so he can grab that top side turret. And for Hanwha here, you know, like you said, there's not a great scaling argument for this comp. There is a lot of pick potential, and as Life gets stronger too, some of that extra damage he's going to have if he can set up for Viper, if Zeka gets into the backline somehow. There's a lot of potential for a comeback here, like, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see it happening right now considering how much control on the map Kwangdong Freaks has.
Yeah. There's also the Hydra variety of the Ashe, so not necessarily a heck of a lot of, I guess, like, single target DPS. I'm gonna have to hold that thought for a moment as Youngjae's taking a bit of damage. He instead decides to flash, and he will be absolutely fine. Arrow sails by, but doesn't find any joy. And so, we're gonna have to back away as well. They get the flash out of Youngjae.
Kingin, who narrowly dodges that Q.
Another Infernal Chain, but Kingin seems to have got his eye in as far as avoiding that one is concerned. Now trying to turn this one more time. Has the 3rd Q, but Kingin's got a Mega Gnar. Could be an opportunity, but doesn't quite find the space drill. I prefer the house.
Yeah, I mean, we just call it house anyways. We often do. It's a drill-shaped house in this case.
I don't mind when it's a clock. When the Gentleman Gnar throws a clock, I'm into that. I'm into that. But otherwise, like the house. Zeka down here knows that Bulldog is in the area as well. Youngjae also going to come down. Zeka's going to have to vacate the area. So
one good thing for Hanwha Life Esports in terms of how the rest of this game could potentially play out is that Kwangdong Freaks' comp is essentially a pick comp, right? They have so much CC between the Talia, the Ashe Arrow, Heimerdinger's Grenade, and obviously the engage that Sejuani can offer you with her ultimate just from going through a brush, right? And there's so much that Kwangdong can do to blow up a single target, and because they're ahead, even a Mega Gnar, even a Maokai that gets caught is vulnerable.
All right, well, I think that might just be a dead Bulldog. You saw even as he was dying, a hand on his head. Just like, made a whoopsie. So Zeka is continuing to be the guy on the team that's getting the work done. A little bit sad that it was Life that stole the kill. I think they would have liked to feed Zeka a little bit more, but there's a bit of that experience showing through as Viper's now trying to get away from Jun. And it's just going to take a heck of a lot of damage. Nice cleanse there. Pretty Captain Jack-esque as Viper makes his way out, but still has to use a summoner spell to escape a support Heimerdinger.
Okay, now they've got a potential setup here to dive this Aatrox. Zeka's going to get some gold bottom side here. Bounty, I think, just fading away. Oh, still up. So that's significant.
Absolutely.
And, you know, Kwangdong Freaks now grouping towards this Drake, but really nice macro play here from Hanwha Life, putting the pressure onto Dudu while also getting that turret while Bulldog was picked. Will he get away with it, though, is the question.
Yeah, it's the Heimerdinger gank one more time as the chain is not going to connect. Flash to get out of the way of the grenade as the turrets are still on in. Permafrost not going to be enough there as he gets underneath the safety of the turret. So, Zeka lives another day.
Yeah, and they still will get the Drake here, of course, a little bit delayed by their attempt to kill Zeka, but he gets away with grabbing that extra gold for his team, slowing this game down slightly, but still, Kwangdong Freaks absolutely in the driver's seat. But it's ult.
Yeah, Nature's Grass coming on through, but World Ender is going to give Dudu. Oh my goodness life! Okay, that is not the shove that you needed. Jun going to look a little bit silly with the flash rockets missing onto the Jin, but still, message received. Bulldog has a fair bit of damage.
Yeah, it's like Kwangdong Freaks are like, this game could be a little bit more one-sided actually if we hit some of these, but we're still gonna get the turret, we're still gonna get the Drake. Zeka's still gonna flash on the bottom side, and I was going to say earlier, yeah, that pick onto Zeka, or rather onto Bulldog is amazing. That's good news for Hanwha, but the other good news, right, this is going to be that pick on the Bulldog. The other good news is, as you can see in some of these skirmishes, if the CC doesn't connect for the side of Kwangdong's comp, the long-term follow-up in these fights is kind of awkward, right? The Heimerdinger went for Rylai's first, doesn't actually have the Liandry's. I do like that Bulldog went for Liandry's in this case because he does need to add some of that extra damage in the longer fights. Hanwha can win long fights here if they avoid that initial setup. A lot of that's going to be about positioning, a lot of that's going to be about vision. And this game is not over yet.
Yeah, absolutely not. They're just tidying up minions here in this mid lane. Dudu down towards the bottom side, now trying to get things together. So, taking stock of the situation right now, 4 minutes until the possible Hextech Soul. There's going to be a huge moment for Kwangdong Freaks. If they get that, the game is all but solidified with the extra power that they will have available. Although, one thing on the table will be the Elder Drake, which has been flipped for a loss before.
It has. And we also know that Hanwha Life Esports' comp, I think, is starting to really get ready to fight, and they're absolutely set up to take some 5v5s. The skirmish power of Kwangdong's comp that is so good at picking from range is at best in the early parts of the game where not everyone is grouped up. But when Hanwha Life Esports are able to group up, when Kingen is able to have his Gnar bar set up for these types of fights, that's when Kwangdong's comp will be tested, I think, the most. And it's really amazing for them that they have this lead so far that it makes it easier to play these 5v5s out in the mid to late game. Yeah. But how will it work out in reality is what we're going to find out in 3 minutes' time when we hit that 25-minute mark. And it's kind of like you lock the door on the game as Kwangdong if you take it. If you don't, Hanwha Life Esports has a comeback opportunity for sure. And that's going to be a really big pivotal moment in this game.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting how the fights start to evolve as well as the game keeps going. Because Taeyeon, as you can see, he's gone for Imperial Mandate as well as his Hydra. Oftentimes, you'll see things like Duskblade built alongside this. But he's going more of that supportive style, even though he was the one farming, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to be that let's wait until our DPS gets online and sit behind them or protect them, right? And that's the same to be said for Hanwha Life Esports with a Lethality Varus there. So these fights are going to be a little bit more about trying to keep Bulldog alive. He'll be doing a lot of the consistent damage. Even Dudu is going to be a big threat as far as that is concerned. And
if Bulldog,
Jun will be huge. If
Bulldog gets hit by a charged up Varus arrow and loses half his health instantly, the fight becomes really complicated for Kwangdong because he needs to be in the thick of things, like you say, and hitting those threaded volleys and proccing those Liandry's hits to make sure he can do that damage. If he gets pushed out of the fight or killed, even worse, Hanwha Life Esports kind of win those, you know, because Taeyeon isn't going to be able to have that same damage output with this build, as you mentioned. Now, with the early Rylai's for June, which I really do like in this case, it makes it a lot easier, of course. But it's all about the setup. I think that's the most important thing for both of these teams is who gets control of the objective first, who sets up first, can get those Heimer turrets ready, or are Hanwha Life Esports going to have control first and you're trying to fight your way in with that long-range CC. You use it early, then Viper's got free reign with his Varus arrows. A lot of tug of war I think we're going to see here in the next 80 seconds.
No, I agree. forward to seeing how it's going to go. 24 minutes into the game, so the Baron is indeed alive. A lot of vision available there for Kwangdong Freaks, but have slowed the game down just a little bit. Want to kind of keep seeing them bite it, you know, to use their tagline. And that is what CV Max was pretty outspoken in saying, that he wants this team to be fun to support, a lot of action, things like that. Not necessarily the slow and steady Kwangdong Freaks that we got used to in 2022. And of course, the team looks extraordinarily different from what we saw then, as Kingen does have Mega Gnar at the ready.
Yeah, and Hanwha Life Esports with the back timings here of Kwangdong, yeah, they're set up early on the streak, like it's very early, but I think it's warranted. And because Bulldog is very far away and isn't actually threatening anything right now in the side lane, you don't worry about that pressure very much cross map here. You're like, I will just camp this, I will just sit on this, and I will set up first because that's what's most important. And Hanwha Life Esports are really entrenching themselves here. Kingen has TP, but no Narbar. Is going to use the Hex Gate to get closer. And this is when things really start getting fired up.
Yeah. If Hanwha Life Esports can win this fight, it will mean massive things for them. Only 3,000 gold behind right now. But with that Hextech Soul, with that ability to brute force turrets afterwards, with the added power that they'll have, it's going to be very important. Pick potential, pretty rife on both sides of the Rift, especially when Jun has his ultimate available.
Kingen gets that bar from the minion wave. He's got it in a perfect spot here to set the fight how he wants to.
Yep. Youngjae utilizing that shielding that he does have available. As that seismic shove was fantastic. They see the go button cleared. Has to flash away. Zeka finds the angle though, but immediately Bulldog goes golden. Can the rest of the team get there to save him? The answer is yes, as Dudu launches on top of the tree and dashes over the wall. Viper in a whole host of trouble as Umbral Dash comes up again, and he's not going to get snared this time. Dudu is just the hero of this game. As, yep, that will be the Hextech Soul. And I think Kwangdong Freaks is going to win this game.
I think so. I mean, like I said, if you get this one, you basically got the game on lock. You've got Hextech Soul with this comp that is so good at locking people down. Then you have that added slow that's going to go through the entire team. And even Zeka's going to have big problems here in the front line when he's getting slowed. And there's just so much ranged and consistent damage with this Liandry's on Bulldog. And I was talking about the setup, right? Hanwha Life Esports showed up first, but then Kingen decided to back, right? And when he backed, he didn't have Narbars. Okay, Zeka.
Yeah, Worldender is going to come on in here. He lands the chain, but Jun lands the grenade. Still Zeka picks it up. And they're chasing after him now. I think his Silas might be able to get out of there, though, because I can see the teleport coming in. Comet not going to be enough, and Zeka gets out.
Zeka gets out, had his Zonias available as well. Still doesn't use it, gets out. The cool guys don't look at explosions.
Oh, he has a Rabidance now as well. I mean, if this isn't Zeka versus the world, I don't know what is.
So Kingen here has his Narbar, but he's so out of the fight that Clid just gets chain CC'd here, has to flash out. And Zeka's coming over on the side, looks for the backline. If he's here to help control this choke point, I think this fight could look different. But instead, he's on a flank game, looking for the real carry, right? The Talia with Liandry's, but can't lock Bulldog down. They lose the war of attrition.
In the meantime, the Baron is being taken. Hanwha Life Esports have it down very, very low. There's the secure for Clip, but Dudu's found his way into the pit. Can they get them? Can they punish them for this Baron take as they're trying to get out? They're still fighting for it, though, as Life sets up the curtain. Zeka picks up yet another one. The last bullet connects onto Youngjae as now Bulldog finds his way in and Viper is obliterated. But still, the heist was relatively successful.
Yeah, this is going to really save a lot of the pressure here for Kwangdong Freaks, having those Baron minions. Just looking back at this fight here, this exchange, where Zeka almost still actually crushes here. Bulldog has a perfect seismic shove, and
it's just not enough.
It's not enough. Like, that was basically perfect, that shove. And then he teleports out. Jun's best efforts to stun him. Not going to happen. A little bit slow on that one. And look at the Hextech Soul's impact here on how this fight starts off. You can already see, like, this is going to be really rough. But the ult here from Clid keeps everybody out. And unfortunately, Talia's not here. We've talked about it so much. Look at the damage from the Heimerdinger turrets. Look at Taeyun try to tickle with this Ashe build. If Bulldog is here, this fight looks completely different, but the zoning here from Life, also amazing. And the only reason why Viper dies is because he doesn't have Flash, but everyone else gets the evacuation, right? Ends up being a trade 2 for 2, but that extra Baron gold going over to Hanwha Life Esports here, massive, and it's going to give them a little bit more control over the map before this Elder Drake spawns. The timing of this still isn't going to guarantee them any sort of prio on Elder or anything like that, but it makes you feel like, okay, still possible, right? Because Zeka's level 18, he's insanely fed.
And I mean, look at what's happened to the gold, right? It's completely even now as the arrow's barely going to miss hop over the wall there. And Youngjae unable to quite find it. So the Nara is going to survive. The rest of Hanwha Life Esports just barrel down the bottom lane. They're going to look for this inner turret, and that's going to be a gold lead for Hanwha Life.
Yeah, they're going to 4-1 this really hard right now. I mean, there's not much you could do here as Kwangdong Freaks, but you don't have your CC. Youngjae looking for the flank.
Well, can he actually find it here as they need to kill Zeka? That is going to be very, very important. He's only hijacked a Weaver's Wall, though. Not exactly the most valuable as Life looking to run his way out. And the Weaver's Wall is going to come in. Jun is his target, and he might be able to take him. He's so incredibly low, and there it is. Zeka gets into that backline. Clid, can you protect your mid laner? He is the most important player on your team. Viper running away from Bulldog here is looking to take down Life, and he does manage to get it. Mid laner versus mid laner. This is so good, Wolf.
This is actually so sick. This is, I mean, I had expectations for this series, like I said, but...
I didn't. I'm not going to lie. I need to be honest with you. I didn't think it was going to be like this.
I didn't think it was going to be like this. I was like, oh, it's going to be like a 7 out of 10. You know, people don't think it's going to be a 7 out of 10. I'm like, I'll confidently say 7 out of 10. I didn't know we were getting 10. I didn't know we were getting a 10.
Yeah. It's at least 9.5 for me right now. I don't know what's going to happen as this game goes on, though. 2 minutes on that Elder Drake. 7 seconds left on the Baron, so we're back to an even playing field.
This fight is so cool for Hanwha because you can push so deep with this composition because you know you have the Maokai ultimate to peel for you. And in this case, Zeka decides, okay, Jun is really low, gonna come over here and lock him down and take him out. Then he's isolated himself. We're not done.
Yep, Dudu in a whole lot of trouble. Arrow's going to hit from downtown, and Dudu turns it. The Twisted Dance is fantastic, and Clid's going to flash out of the way. He misses the Q. I don't know how Clid did that, but Dudu's still going to kill him now. Zeka running for his life. The Weaver's Wall is going to be there. Life comes on in. Seismic Shove is going to miss, and Zeka gets away.
Zeka gets away, so it's only a kill on Clid here. Still 90 seconds until this Elder spawns, so he'll be up for that. And Kingan's getting a free push here in the top side. He's going to grab an extra turret worth of gold. Still has his stopwatch. Remember, he backed for that when we had that soul fight. Didn't end up using it in the fight. Didn't actually end up winning the fight for them. So his back there didn't actually succeed, but he still holds on to the stopwatch he picked up then, and is getting closer to picking up a GA in this game because he's had so much time to sit in the side lane and free farm. And watch this one more time as Dudu he just will not be stopped. Just will not be stopped.
The Whirlwind gave him a fair bit of healing there.
He did get the healing, and then Clid, of course, here is trying to escape, gets out of the queue. It doesn't matter. Dudu's going to chase him, flashes forward, and then Bulldog's like, sorry, Zeka. I have the real Weaver's Wall. You've been using it against me all game, and you're 2 levels up. You got the Rod of Ages advantage, but still going to try to lock you down. Now, this game is still winnable for Hanwha Life because they have such a good team fighting comp, and Zeka is nearly full build. All he's missing is Void Staff.
No, Hanwha Life can still win this game because Zeka. You could have just stopped at that point in time. This is like actual 1v9 that we're witnessing right now.
And Kingan's getting a lot of impact in this side lane because Kwangdong Freaks have had to deal with Zeka. More resources are spent to deal with Zeka. He often escapes or loses somebody non-essential, and then they have to go clean up the Gnar. Gnar has teleport here, so does Dudu, but Hanwha Life Esports have Prio on this Elder that's spawning in 5 seconds. Kwangdong Freaks needs more setup, or they're going to have to find a pick target here, and I don't think Zeka is it. I don't think they can kill him on the side. He's got a Banshee's Veil.
Yeah.
You can't pick this guy.
He's really close to also having the Void Staff completed as well. Does have his little Blighted Crystal there as Taeyeon's looking to make his way down. Hawkshot, very valuable at this point in time, but speaking of value, GA completed. Teleport now on the way in for Kingan. Who's Naba. Very, very low right now, but does have an opportunity to build that one up against this Elder Drake.
Sonya is available here for Zeka. Doesn't quite have the money for the Void Staff, unfortunately, just yet, but they have positional advantage.
Zeka finds yet another Glacial Prison. So important for him as the arrow's going to connect. Mega Gnar's going to come forward for Kingan. He can't lose his GA like this. It's so important for the next fight. He crushes over the wall, but still, that is going to be the flash now on cooldown, and there's the Glacial Prison. Clid could be just picked yet again. No one's there to follow up, but Clid not going to die just yet. Zeka finding that hero flank, but he's spotted on a ward. And Dudu looks to try and keep him out of this pit. Kingan gets himself forward yet again one more time, as the ultimate has to be used here against Dudu. He's down to like 50% health here as Kingan goes into his GA, and now Hanwha Life Esports have to make it worth it. Youngjae very, very low. The rest of them on Hanwha are just looking to lock down this Elder, and Youngjae so extraordinarily low. He gets into the pit. It's going to be a 50-50, but Clid secures it in the end, and they have the Elder. Can they now win the fight as Bulldog goes golden, but it just sets him up for death, and Hopewell Life, I can't believe it. They're going to do it against all odds. They take down the Elder, and I don't know how Kwangdong Freaks do it after this.
It is... Okay, I'm just going to say it, best game of the season. We're on day 2, best game of the season.
Oh, man. It is definitely a bit of a fiesta, but it's the fiesta we wanted to see.
Now everybody's low here, and Dudu does, of course, have that Elder on him, the debuff, so he cannot really stick around despite the low health bars here. And Hanwha Life are looking to just turn this into Baron. Despite those low health bars, they've got the push through. This fight is really long, insane. Gnar has to back off. Remember, at the beginning of this, he loses health. Has to TP back in. Zeka is not here. This is a 4v3, essentially. Klid survives. Remember, he comes back and actually is the one to smite this. And Kwangdong Freaks are just too split. They're chasing Zeka on one side. With this curtain call, so much peel right now just from the support gen, and Kwangdong Freaks can't make a decision. By the time Gnar gets back, it's a disaster. They pick him, but he's got GA, and Zeka can come back in. They're just completely zoned off of this Elder Drake. Beautiful play from Hanwha, and Youngjae's like, I just gotta go for this, I'm gonna go for it. But he loses the 50-50, the Elder Flip goes to Klid. Oh, what a fight.
Just some serious challenger vibes coming into the LCK here today, and I love to see it. It's been such a fun game, but pretty heartbreaking, honestly, for Kwangdong Freaks. They got themselves the Hextech Soul. Everything in the early game went their way. Now Hanwha Life Esports are 5,000 gold ahead. 0-6 Klid comes in and just gets the game-winning 50-50. Sometimes it all just comes down to the odds, Wolf. Yeah. Klid says, don't tell them to me. I'll just wait for 30 minutes and I'll smite the Elder. What more do you guys want?
Everybody's so low on Hanwha Life Esports that maybe Kwangdong, if they actually win that smite fight, could have actually killed some of those members, grabbed Baron, and potentially ended the game. It was so close. Here's the arrow.
Yeah, it's going to connect onto the priority target. He gets shoved back into the rest of the team as well. Goes Golden and avoids the ult from the Heimerdinger. Now, Nature's Grasp to come forward. Zeka, oh man, these chains are doing so much work. He's got 6 items, for goodness sake, on this Silas. Kwangdong Freaks do manage to get them away from their turret, at least for now. 1 minute and a half on the Baron buff, as they can go for a bit of a reset if they'd like to. Oh, Youngjae doesn't burn down. He's fine.
It fades as he's about to burn down. That was so close. Goes away. Hanwha Life Esports have Baron, but they have to back away. The engage was too good. They almost picked Zeka. He's now down to Zhonya's. Anyone can win this game. I mean, I think Hanwha Life definitely in the driver's seat now with this Baron buff, but they have to reset. Kwangdong Freaks can breathe for a minute, and it sounds crazy to say this, but we might have another Elder fight in 3 minutes' time when we crest the 40-minute mark.
Oh, what's better than one Elder Flip, Wolf? I think it's 2 Elder Flips, exactly.
Oh, and now we're looking for all these cooldowns to come back up. Like, it's been so long since Kingen actually popped his GA that it is coming back up here relatively soon. We're getting back into the Zhonya's territory here for Zeka. They're still trying to push this deep and find that inhibitor damage, right? We haven't even touched the inhibitor turrets just yet because Kwangdong Freaks have done such a great job at setting up flanks and looking for those engages on whoever's in the front. Zeka, they want to grab that Banshee's Veil off of him. They're successful. That is huge because with the Banshee's Veil, he is basically immortal on the front line.
But he's able to collect himself a weave as well. Hop to get out of the way of the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and the Abscond not going to connect there onto Youngjae. Would have been a battle that would take a fair bit of time there. Of course, Sejuani pretty tanky right now. All right, Deadly Flourish comes on forward. Youngjae happy to tank it. Does have the Warmogs as well. This Radiant Virtue that he picked up before now has augmented the build with the Force of Nature. So understanding that Zeka is definitely a lot of the damage.
5 seconds on the Baron buff. Here's the Weaver's Wall.
Yeah, gonna just use it to get them away from this turret, looking to try and utilize the rest of it, but a lot of damage to come through here. The W-empowered arrow, so much. Half health Jun there in that backline, but Youngjae happy to tank things up, and they got 0 damage on the
damage to the turrets here. All 3 turrets stand. What a heroic defense here for Kwangdong Freaks. They've got decent wave clear. Obviously, the Leandri's Talia helps out, you know, pretty much the main reason why they're able to defend this. They have a Heimerdinger as well. But Hanwha, they can't break through all of the CC.
Well,
so this one's going to go wide.
It's a bit of a scouting arrow there. Oh, shooting the cup.
Yeah.
They're like, I want one of those.
Yeah,
and Hanwha Life Esports like, we've got 3. We can barely hold these things.
and like, we are going to have that Elder fight. GA coming up in just a few seconds here for Kingen. Hanwha Life Esports, once again, don't have Hextech Soul. They are 0 Drakes to 4 and are still making these fights look incredibly coordinated. Like, with the Jhin support that has kind of been basically absent throughout most of this game, has really helped peel. And Guangdong Freaks are going to have to be way more decisive this time around, as Zeka essentially just held the door alone. 1v5 in that last fight. They're going to have to try to circumvent. They're going to have to look for a flank. Dudu's going to have another angle of opportunity. Or Hanwha Life Esports, now with even more damage, will burst that Elder down. They have prio. Positional advantage is theirs. Guangdong Freaks running out of time here.
Yep. Hanwha Life Esports just need to make sure that they don't ruin it for Zeka, who's now just trying to win the game by himself. That is what it's kind of feeling like here, but Viper is just slowly but surely working towards 6 items and does, if he hits these arrows, start to do a heck of a lot of damage. It's just so weird because we've got like utility bottom lanes entirely on both sides of the rift, so much of it is about what these solo lanes can do. Dudu is full damage on this Aatrox right now.
Guangdong in such an awkward spot here. If they could find an angle on Viper, this is amazing for them, right? Because Zeka's so far on the flank, but they have to be decisive. Narbar's charged for Kingen.
Oh, that was very, very close. Viper not able to find the arrow either after the Chains of Corruption go wide. The Elder Drake getting a little bit frustrated as now Zeka's looking to rotate over. Wants to try and set his sights on Dudu here as they get towards the turret. Weaver's Wall to block them off as Bulldog wants to find the shove. Doesn't quite get it as cleared. May just fall down. He gets the Nature's Grasp off, but still he's going to go too low. And now Hanwha Life Esports, yeah, they're just going to go for the base race. It's like, yeah, you can take a dragon, but Elder for Nexus? Have you guys heard of that trade? It ain't a great one, ladies and gentlemen.
Stopping the backs here. Dudu alone is going to have to use the healing from the fountain to try to stave this off.
Exactly right, and this is going to go to Guangdong Freaks, but there are 2 towers that have fallen down. The Nexus is going to go, and Hanwha Life Esports are going to do it. I correct myself. Zeka is going to do it.
I picked up my POG selection paper, and there's only mid. It doesn't let me pick anything else.
It's broken, in fact. They gave you a sheet that only, it's just written mid, like over the entire paper.
Yeah, it just says mid only. There's no other choice.
Oh my goodness, what a ridiculous game. But it was the understandable outcome, of course. The